Let me show you how to make this delicious smothered neck bone meal. Let's get it. You're going to let your neck bones get room temperature. Then you are going to cover these with vinegar. I just use a white vinegar, get it all mixed in. What the vinegar is going to do is it's going to allow these to be nice and tender. Then we're going to hit these with some Worcestershire sauce. Did I say that right? Worcestershire. Y'all know we can't say that. Make sure you get these nice and covered. This is going to add a really good depth of flavor. Now, when I season my food, I like to keep one hand for the mixing and one hand for the seasoning. So now it's time to season with some sea salt, or you can just use regular salt. As I'm seasoning, I'm constantly turning them so every single piece gets enough of that seasoning. Now let's hit these with some black pepper. I'm going to try to keep this board straight, but as I'm turning the meat, the board keeps turning. All right, let's get this. Okay, let's get it together. All right, so we hit it with the black pepper. Now it's time to hit it with some garlic powder. And after the garlic powder, we're going to hit these with some onion powder and constantly turn these while you're seasoning. This is going to ensure that every piece of meat gets the proper amount of seasoning. After we hit this with the garlic powder, onion powder, then we're going to hit it with a little bit of oregano. Yes, oregano. That's going to make it nice and delicious. And as you see, I'm constantly turning them as I'm seasoning my meat. Look at that. Look at that. Your meat should look like this. You should be able to see and smell the seasoning. It's about to be delicious. It's time to start preparing to cook these babies. So what you're going to do is I have some whole wheat flour here, and we're going to make sure that each of these neck bones are fully coated in that flour. You want to shake off the excess. Now, this flour is going to start our gravy. Yes, so make sure every single neck bone is covered in the flour. Shake off the excess, and then we're going to brown them. Now, you want to cook these in a pan that could go on the stove and also in the oven. So we're going to test to make sure it's hot. And then we're just going to put a little bit of olive oil in here. We're not deep frying these, we're browning them. It doesn't need a lot of oil. So I just put enough to cover the bottom. It's time to add these to the pan. Listen, you want to hear this sound right here. Listen for it. That's what you want to hear, that nice sizzle. So we're just going to put all these in the pan, and we're going to let these brown on all sides. It takes maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and you're going to go in here. We're going to flip them. As you see, I'm not using a lot of oil. This is going to keep the calorie count down. Look at that nice and golden brown color. And you're just going to continue to flip these on all sides until all of these are nice and brown. Here comes the fun part. All sides are brown. Now we're going to add our onions and garlic. And then I'm going to add some beef stock. Now I have already heated up my beef stock because I want to maintain the temperature. You see how this is boiling? Ooh, look at that. It smells delicious. Believe it or not, this is going to make its own gravy. So we're going to cover this. We're going to put this in the oven at 375, and we're going to let these cook. While they're cooking, let's get started on our rice. So after we have added just a little bit of olive oil to a pan, we're going to put in some diced onions. We're going to cook these till they're nice and translucent. Turn the heat down just a little bit. After our onions are nice and soft, we are going to add our garlic. Garlic does not take a long time to cook, so we're going to add our garlic to the hot pot, stir that in, and then once that is all incorporated, we are going to add our rice. This is brown rice, and it is going to be delicious. We're going to stir the rice in with the onions and garlic, and then guess what we're going to add to it? We are going to add some beef stock. Yes, we're cooking the rice and beef stock because it's going to add a depth of flavor. Bring this to a boil. Once it boils, we're going to cover it and let it simmer. Quick cameo for all my people. It's time to check on the neck bones. Look, that gravy is already starting to form. They're not done yet. We're going to put these back in the oven, let them cook a little bit longer. Green bean time. So our rice is cooking and our neck bones are still baking. We're going to take some bacon. We're going to render this down. We want to get these pieces nice and crispy. We're going to remove it. And then, yes, you see that good bacon fat right there? We're going to add the green beans directly to that bacon fat. Ooh, these are going to be fat. Go ahead, stir those up. And then we're just going to season these. We're going to season these with some of the similar seasonings that we use for our neck bones. So we're going to do salt, we're going to do black pepper, we're going to do some onion powder, and we're going to do some garlic powder. Yes, our green beans have to be heavily seasoned because that's going to add all the flavor. Once we season them, we're going to toss these and we're just going to brown these. We want them to stay crisp. We don't want soggy green beans. So we're only going to cook these for maybe 15 minutes at most. Let's put this meal together. I think it's ready. Look at that. You see that? The neck bones are nice and tender and made its own gravy. Oh my goodness, they smell delicious. And our green beans are nice and seasoned. They're still crisp, but they're ready to go on that plate. And finally, we have that rice. Ooh, look at that aroma. We're just going to fluff this with a fork. We're going to put this all on a plate and we are going to enjoy. Bon appetit. It's time to eat. You can't tell me that your mouth is not watering. Ooh, enjoy.